So my writing style is very conversational. And that was a big block I kind of had to get over because I thought I'm not good at writing. I don't know how to write. And then I was like, I'm just going to write like I was explaining to somebody or telling somebody something. I started with blogging, and that's a very conversational style of writing.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews.
Hello, and welcome back to the show. My name is Rick. It's wonderful to have you with us, and it's always wonderful to be your host. And it's even more special when we have incredible guests who are doing amazing things inside of their businesses. And today, that is no different because I'm on the line with the wonderful Gael Wood. Welcome to the show, Gael.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm very excited because I was going through your bio and your numerous businesses, very successful businesses. And there's a lot of people on the show, Gail, who love to learn about how to write books. They've never done it. And, you know, I think we can certainly share some very interesting insights into that process, but also what it takes to be an entrepreneur and a business owner. And, you know, how really our focus today is going to be on how writing books can help you actually create a six-figure online business. But before we do any of that, Gail, is customary for us to learn about you, learn about, I guess, a bit of your family. Right now, I know that your husband and son are down underneath you pumping weights and doing whatever it is that they do. So let's start by finding out where home is for you.
Yeah, so I'm in Boone, North Carolina, which is in the mountains of North Carolina, USA.
Yes.
And so since March of 2020, I've been homeschooling my son. When school started back up, we decided not to go back.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I run my businesses and homeschool from my house here, and
crazy.
We have a fun and busy life.
So do you get much time away given now that you've got homeschooling and running businesses? And if you do, what do you do with yourself?
Yeah, so part of the reason we decided to homeschool was so that we could get more traveling in.
Mm-hmm.
In December, we took a trip to Mexico with friends for surfing.
Beautiful.
We love to go to the beach and rock climbing trips. My husband and son and daughter are all rock climbers, so we go to a lot of rock climbing areas.
Yeah, it's wonderful to stay fit and healthy. I think that's a really important thing. So what is your part of all of that? Do you do rock climbing?
Well, I did before I had my son, and I kind of got out of it because once I had him to chase after and I went back to work, I got out of shape for it. So now I walk a lot. I do yoga. I do what I can to stay in shape because you've got to have energy to live your life.
So tell us what drew you to the location that you're living in now. Has that always been home for you, or?
Yeah, well, I grew up here. There's a university here in the town, and my mom worked there as a professor. So we all moved here, and
here you are.
I've left a few times, but I always come back. So
it's funny how that happens, isn't it? You know.
Yes.
Yeah, your home is where the heart is, and I suspect that is where it is. Now, when you were growing up, tell us a little bit about that. Did you have an uplifting childhood? What was your childhood like?
Oh yeah, I had a very good childhood. My mom was a single mom, and she was a really good example of working hard, and she earned her PhD and became a professor, and so I had her to influence me.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of took a different path because school is not my favorite. She's an educator. I love to learn. I read every day. I always have. We didn't have TV when I was growing up, so I had to read
almost.
Books. What's that?
A blessing almost.
Yes, definitely. So I became an avid reader and learner, but I just didn't like structured school. And when I got to high school, I was like, I'm about tired of people telling me what to do. So I left high school early and started taking college classes. And then from there, I went to massage school. And that's really where my career started.
Yes.
Was in the massage and spa industry. I went on to get my skincare license and open up my first day spa in 2003.
Yes, thank you for sharing. I'm wondering, when you do read, what's your pleasure reading? What do you read for fun?
I like really light readings. I've been reading a lot of Sophie Kinsella, she wrote this series called The Shopaholic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I read so many business books and self-help books that when I'm reading for pleasure, I like to keep it pretty light and entertaining.
I can understand that because it can become fairly full on, can't it? Now, I wonder, do you have different modalities? Do you enjoy audiobooks at all?
Yeah, I love audiobooks because I walk a lot. So if I'm walking outside or on my treadmill, I'm almost always listening to an audiobook. And those are usually business or, personal development.
So when you start your day, Gail, I think it's important because we have a lot of startup entrepreneurs and people around us in the audience, should I say, who really take a lot out of sort of taking tidbits away from people's lives. So what does your day look like? Do you rise early, and what's your routine?
Yeah, I normally get up about 6,
Mm-hmm.
and we start our homeschool day at 9, so that gives me 3 hours to prepare for my day, work, plan my day. So one of my biggest tips is my phone lives in the kitchen. I don't have any devices connected to the internet in my bedroom. And so that way I wake up and I drink coffee, I read, I, do a little journaling, and then I usually jump straight into like planning my day, making my to-do list from there.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's wonderful that you shared about the phone because I personally suffer from, bringing the phone into the bedroom and getting that bright light at night time. Is it something you used to do that you've changed, or has it always been that way?
Yeah, I definitely had to make a real conscious decision around that because it's almost impossible to turn your alarm clock on your phone off and not check your messages, check your email, see a notification that then you're just reacting straight from there. Then
Yes,
you're in reactive mode.
It's very
and you're not
skillful.
in proactive.
It's definitely a skill. I had to learn that myself. That's for sure and certain. Now, I wonder, you seem to have a very strong mindset about you. How much effort does it take now? And we'll start to change direction of the conversation in a moment. To be homeschooling and running a business at the same time. Has that presented new challenges?
Well, it definitely has, but I really like it because it gives me just different variety throughout the day, which is nice. I'm not trying to sit and just work on my computer all day. I have 2 days a week where I have 2 extra boys that homeschool at my house.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a really good flow to the day, and they're all great. They can have their list. They do their work without complaining, but we go walk the dog, then we make lunch, and it just makes a nice flow to the day. And I also think that when I do have work time, I tend to be more focused because I know it is more limited.
Yeah, fantastic. Because you need to now chunk your time, don't you? Yeah, and that's a real skill in itself. So thank you for sharing. Now, I'm wondering, we're obviously going to be talking about your businesses. You have several of them. Could you share a little bit of detail about them with us?
Yes. Well, my one business I actually just closed on January 3rd. So that was Massage and Spa Success, which I ran. I started it in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I published my first ebook in 2014.
Yep.
And it was just about the end of the year because I remember we were driving to Thanksgiving to my husband's family's house, and I sold my first ebook in the car on that trip.
Now, I bet you remember it because it's always the first one you remember, isn't it?
Yeah, and I remember thinking, if one person will buy this ebook for $19.95, maybe 100 will, maybe 1,000 will. And it really just inspired me to kind of go all in on my digital content and online business, because that's what I love about ebooks, online courses. When you make it once, you can sell it over and over and over.
Yeah, the never-ending story, isn't it? I wonder, what sort of platforms do you use to distribute?
So I have used, when I started out, I had a website on Weebly, which was just a little do-it-yourself website, and I used a delivery service called eJunkie.
Oh, yes.
That's how I started out, and then from there I upgraded to WordPress and having, a WooCommerce shop and different subscription and membership programs. And And so my business was on WordPress until I closed it a few days ago. Now for my current business, I use Kajabi, which I really love.
Right. Yeah, fantastic. Isn't it amazing how we are blessed to live in this time and age with the technology that we have, that we can, despite the pandemic, continue to live on. Have you found that many of those that you are working with you have struggled to adopt the technology, or do they embrace it?
Well, within the massage therapy community, some people do struggle to embrace that. It's, the type of people that are attracted to massage want to do massages. They don't want to be on a computer working. So, so there it's about 50-50, but that's something that happened during the pandemic is, I had a mailing list of about 12,000 massage therapists, and people started saying, Gail, will you help us learn to do online business? So I actually started a program to help, the massage therapists that wanted to write books, create online courses, teach continuing education, to be able to take part of their business online.
So tell us about the accolades that you've received for your massage work. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so I was very surprised. I started writing for Massage Magazine around 2016, and I'd be in a few issues a year, and they called me up one day and said, you're making a big difference in the massage therapy industry, and we want to put you on the cover of the magazine and have you be our all-star for April. They do, I think, 3 or 4 all-stars per year, so that was a really big honor. And right about the same time, Mike Hinkle, who runs the World Massage Festival, contacted me and said kind of the same thing, that you're making a big difference and helping so many therapists with their business and marketing and being successful, that we want to induct you into the World Massage Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
So it was really fun because, I remember back when I was in massage school, looking through the magazines and seeing the names of these teachers and people that I looked up to. And so it was really an honor to be kind of in the same category as them.
No, it's a real credit to you, and keep up the great work. Now, I'm wondering if we can talk about the marketing component, because you've talked about email lists, you've talked about being recognized for helping those in your industry with marketing. What type of sort of approach do you take to marketing?
Well, I think that there's kind of like 4 pillars. So you want to have your foundation in place, and then focus on the things that you like to do and that you're good at. So, in this day and age, you want to have a good website that speaks to your ideal client. You probably want to have some social media presence. You definitely want to build your network and meet people and get your name out that way. And then from there, there's different directions you can go. If somebody has a local business, I'm still a fan of printed marketing materials.
Yep.
So, and then if you have an online business, it might be something like starting a podcast, and then just have, your different areas, kind of cover your bases. But then, like, if your networking's your favorite, you can kind of lean into that and do more of that.
So there seems to be like different avenues that you can take. So you would almost tailor solutions to individual people that you work with?
Yeah. So I ran actually a marketing boot camp for many years, and, I'd have take everybody through the process of making sure they had their 4 areas set up. And through doing that, usually the light bulbs would start going off, and they would kind of figure out which area was their favorite. So maybe they're in the Chamber of Commerce and they get more involved there and realize that's where they want to put their time and effort. So yeah, and I really think it's about experimenting, trying different things.
Being flexible.
This year my goal is to do 100 podcast interviews.
Oh, very good, very good. That's a
And
nice
see what
challenge.
happens.
Yes, see what happens. Now, I'd like to, if we could, for the sake of context, Gail, share your story, because I know that you had a moment in time where you were burnt out, you were in debt,
Yeah.
you were unwell. How did you overcome these challenges? Would you mind sharing the story?
So this was when it was probably 2011, 2012. And, I was a mom of two. I had a 3-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a busy massage therapist. It's a very hard job. It's a very physically demanding job. And I just think that my immune system had gotten run down over the years.
Yeah.
So I started getting sick, just kind of recurring stuff. I'd get bronchitis, I'd get walking pneumonia, I'd get strep throat. It just seemed like it was something all the time. And I was like, something's got to change. I can't keep going at this pace. And that's when I started seeing, I had just really recently gotten on Facebook. I hadn't been on there very long, and I started seeing people selling ebooks, planners, online classes. And I just thought, you know what? I bet I could do that. I'm going to give that a try. And at that time, I wasn't working for myself. So I also really wanted something that was my own. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I love to, start businesses. I love learning all this stuff and doing marketing. And so it really lit me up to kind of start my own little side thing.
You have a hunger
but
for it.
my goal at first was just to be able to cut back my hours a little bit and have a little more time freedom.
Absolutely.
So that's how I started out, and I just kept
going
taking
from there.
one step and then the next.
Left foot, right foot, left foot. Now,
Yep.
I wonder, what was the first book that you wrote?
I wrote Massage Enhancements Your Clients Will Love, and it was how to do add-on treatments for your massage so you can make more money per treatment. And so it was a simple book to write. I just explained how to do each treatment, and then I got stuck on the photos. I was like, how am I going to do photos for a book? I know nothing about this. So I had a free coaching call with somebody from a business group I was in, and she kind of kicked my butt a little bit. And she was like, do it the best you can. And we figured out that I could set it up in my spare room, and I could get my daughter and her friend with an iPhone and just do the best that I could. And I always thought, well, I can upgrade the pictures later if I want. But they were fine.
Yeah, fantastic. It's oftentimes the case, isn't it? You don't need to be as perfectionistic. Do you think you have a tendency to be a bit of a perfectionist?
No,
No,
not anymore.
not anymore. Well, that's a good thing.
I think I was just overthinking that. Because I really do think done is better than perfect.
Oh, that is sage advice right there. Anybody's listening to this call, done is better than perfect. Motion beats standing still, that's for sure and certain. Thank you for sharing, Gail. Now, I wonder, what is your writing style? How do you go about writing? Is it all in one day, or how does it happen for you?
Yeah, so my writing style is very conversational, and that was a big block I kind of had to get over, because I thought, I'm not good at writing, I don't know how to write, and then I was like, I'm just going to write like I was explaining to somebody or telling somebody something. So I started with blogging, and that's a very conversational style of writing, and kind of started writing more consistently. And I do a little bit of each. If I'm working on a book or a project, I'm just really consistent, and I'll do like 30 minutes a day.
Yeah. Do you do an outline? Do you have an idea for the book before you start writing, or do you just take yourself on a journey and see where it ends up?
Yes, I usually have an outline, and it'll just kind of be bullet points, what I think I want to cover in the book. And then one thing will lead to another once you start writing. Certainly.
So I know that you have a number of books. Tell me about your other books, because I know that there'll be people on the call who'd be very interested in getting their hands on them at some stage.
Yeah, so aside from my books for the massage and spa industry, in 2021, I set a huge goal. I actually ran across a lady on Amazon Kindle who wrote how to write 12 books in 12 months. And I was like, well, I like a challenge. So I challenged myself to write 12 books in 12 months. And I only made it halfway. I wrote 6 books in 12 months.
Oh, well done.
And the first one was called The Gratitude Habit. And it was just something I started thinking about during COVID lockdown, is, trying to find things to be grateful for, even though we couldn't do so many of the things that we wanted to do or were used to doing.
Yeah.
And it kind of took me back to a time in my life another time where things were hard. And I really just started to manage anxiety and stress, thinking of things I was grateful for. And so I wrote this, it's a journal type book where each day has a little reflection and then some journaling prompts. So that was my first one. My second one is called the Designing Your Dream Life Workbook, where I kind of take the reader through different aspects of thinking through what it is that you really want in your life and pulling in those qualities, I would say. One example I like to give is, a lot of us aspire to maybe have a house at the beach, on the beach, but it seems really out of reach. But then if you think, well, what are the things that I think having that house on the beach will give me? We can probably have those things. Like when I'm at the beach, I hang out with my family a lot, and we, walk down the beach, and we have, fun times cooking together because you're in vacation mode. Well, you can draw that into your life in your house right now.
And you don't need to be at the beach.
And you don't need to be at the beach. So thinking about like all of these things that we think are out there, what are the qualities of them, and how can we just have those in our day-to-day life?
It's kind of saying, I want $1 million. Well, no, you don't. You just want the lifestyle that $1 million can bring you.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. And you can probably have a lot of those things that you think you need $1 million for without the $1 million.
Absolutely. So what else do we have in your library?
I wrote a book on decluttering your schedule. So being a homeschooling mom with 2 businesses, I really had to manage my time.
Yeah.
And I started looking at, what am I doing? Like from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed, what am I doing? Am I doing things that I don't like doing, that I don't need to do? And I just looked at so many things and realized, there are things I can have outsourced. There are things I don't really have to do anymore. And just really getting creative with solutions. I think that's something we tend to do, is get a little bit stuck. Like either I have to clean my house or I have to pay somebody to clean my house. Well, there's other options.
Don't clean your house.
Yeah, don't leave it messy.
Yeah.
Lower your standards a little bit.
That's me.
Or one thing we do is like we all pitch in and clean for an hour a week.
Yeah. Share the load.
So yeah, share the load. Like there's all kinds of different options. And so that book's just about, getting you to really look at where your time goes. If you're saying, well, I want to do this or that, and I don't have time, I bet you can find it.
Yeah, wonderful.
So let's see, what was the next one? The next one was about decluttering your beliefs.
I was going to ask you about beliefs. This is probably a good one to talk about.
So, and that's another thing that holds us back so much is we have these beliefs. We don't often even realize where they came from, and they're stopping us from progressing.
Yeah, I mean, you're a long time dead, aren't you? Why hold back?
Yeah.
You've got one chance at this. I often like to say, this is not a stage show. This life is, a real event.
Yeah.
So do what you can. So I'm wondering, did you go through any of those challenges with your mindset as you were starting out? And how did you break through them?
Well, definitely. That's why I'm writing about them now.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's kind of fun to figure out like where you may have gotten a belief from. One thing I realized like with my writing is when I was in high school, I asked my teacher, I said, can I just write like I talk? And she was like, no, you can't.
Oh.
But I completely integrated that belief like it was, from God above.
Yeah, like it was absolute. Yeah. in the Bible.
Once I realized, oh my goodness, that woman was probably just having a bad day. And here I let that affect my entire life. I was able to quickly let that go. And we get things, from our parents and our grandparents, and we get to decide, do I still believe that?
Yeah, wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
There's so much great content. The more you talk about it, the more I'm sure people are going to want to read this. And now we talked about audio books before. I'm wondering, you've got ebook format. There's obviously EPUB format, and there's audio book. Do you have any plans to expand into those sort of other areas and on other distribution platforms?
Yes, audiobooks are on my list to try to do this year. So,
Fantastic.
and I'm just, I have to learn about it, see what the steps are, decide if I want to read it myself or hire somebody, and just, one step at a time. So that's definitely on my list.
Make the decision as you go along. Now, I'd love to, if we could, shift our focus a little bit to your website, Elevate with Gael. I love the layout. What are you using to, present your books? Is it like a shopping cart? Is there some sort of system?
Oh no, that's my Kajabi. That's my Kajabi
that
site.
is Kajabi.
Yeah.
Right. That looks
so
wonderful.
it's all built in. I can't say enough good things about Kajabi.
Well, it's funny, because I thought Kajabi was just its own sort of standalone membership portal. I've learned something today. There you go.
Yeah, so it's website, mailing list, shop, memberships and subscriptions. It's all built in. And what I love about it is I can do anything I need to myself. No
coding required.
Yeah, I have a VA who does a lot for me, but if she's not available, I love the fact that I can jump in and take care of what I want to do that day.
And that's the rewarding part of all of this. It's not only about making that first sale, it's the learning, it's who you become in the journey, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Now, I know that you have some wonderful content on there, but you also have a program called Elevate. I'd love to take a deep dive into that if we could.
Yeah, so that's my Elevate Mastermind, and that's actually the one that I started when the massage therapists on my list were saying, hey, will you show us how to start an online business? And so it's really for people that are just starting out to go from no online business to, hey, I have a business, I have products for sale, I have books for sale, and there's probably 30 or 40 courses and trainings in there at this point. I have one called 8-Week Dream Business Startup, and that kind of takes you through building your foundation, like getting your domain name and your website and figuring out what your first product will be and getting started with your marketing. So there's a lot of parts and pieces, but it's doable.
Now, I wonder, Gael, you do a lot of courses and books and that sort of thing. Do you do any one-on-one work? Is that a service that you offer?
I do. Right now, I'm only taking a few clients at a time, 4 at a time. So when I have openings for coaching, I definitely send that out to my email list. And then when my son goes back to school, he's going to high school in the fall, I plan to open up more one-on-one coaching.
So in terms of the massage business, do you have any restrictions locally at the moment? What's happening there? Are you starting to open the doors again and invite people back?
Yeah, so I don't currently do massage.
Right.
But in the industry here, in our town, you just have to wear a mask and everybody's open for business.
Everything's all good. Now, talk us through the rest of your website, because I know that there's a lot on there.
Well, I have quite a few blog posts, so that's a great place to start, kind of seeing what I'm all about and what I like to write about and talk about and share. And then I just started a new program called the Monthly Challenge Club, and it is all about developing your success habits and the habits that will create the life that you want to have. So
excellent.
So each month I do a new monthly challenge, and there's a lot of resources, habit trackers, and fun things like that in there, because I love all that stuff. And I'm like, if I love it, probably other people will like it too.
As well. I know that the secret sauce to online businesses is email marketing to some degree at least. Do you talk to your email list a lot? And do you,
Yes.
like when something new comes out for you, do you share it?
Oh yeah, I share really a lot. They hear from me almost daily.
That's good.
So, and it'll be, just I do what I call my daily blog. So it's kind of after I do my morning routine, I just kind of write up a few paragraphs of whatever I'm inspired to talk about, and I'll email that out, or I might do a live stream or something. So
How do you find the live streams? Is that a challenge for you? Do you find it natural to get in front of the camera like that?
again, it was one of those things where I started out just so nervous and so clunky. My first video ever is on YouTube, and it is so embarrassing.
I'm sure it's not so bad.
But, just over time, I got more and more comfortable, and now I really like it.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic. I've really loved this call, Gail. I'm pretty sure that those who are on the call with us have enjoyed it too. Now, given that we're at the pointy end of the call, I'm wondering, most importantly, where will people be able to contact you, find your books, find all of your works, join the your Elevate program, and so on and so forth?
yeah, so my website is elevatewithgael.com, and Gael is spelled Gael.
Gael.
So head over to my website. The first step might be to get my free ebook, which is the one about decluttering your schedule. Jump on my email list. You can check out all my programs and everything right there.
Go from there. Now, if you're on the call today, make sure you visit Elevate with Gail. That's Gael, and download her ebooks and other books. There's so much great content on there, and from what you've learned today on today's call, I'm sure you're pretty excited. I know I'm excited because there's lots of real life applicable, practical things to learn there, that's for sure. And with all that being said, Gail, thank you so very much for joining me on the show today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.